I want to open individual terminals for each of these projects. We have the app router, remember, and the page router. So we start with the page router, open it in an integrated terminal, and then first thing first, we want to install npm, we want to install dependencies, we want to install NextAuth, we want to install Prisma, we want to install we want to install an adapter. So it's NextAuth Prisma adapter, NextAuth / Prisma adapter. All these are in the documentation, so you don't have to cram them or have them offered. So hit enter for the installation to start, and you can do this for both of them at the same time. So you can just copy and install it in the app router if you're starting with the page router. Of course, I'm starting with the page router. Remember, what I'm doing at this point is something that is common for both of them. So whatever we do in the page router, be sure that you can do it in the app router before the next segment, when we'll start to handle things differently or individually, depends on the project configuration. Now, after this, you should have some of these things as part of the dependencies now, like Prisma, NextAuth, and the adapter. All right, cool. We want to initialize Prisma. I am assuming that you already at least know the basics of most of these things, like Next.js, like Prisma, and maybe NextAuth. But even if you are new to NextAuth, it will be easy for you to follow. But just in case you are new to any of these, I'll link some of the documentation down there in the description. So npx Prisma init to initialize Prisma. This will create a Prisma folder and an env folder. Inside of the Prisma folder, it creates a schema.prisma file. This is where we'll create our models. Models are just a way to define how our table should look, and Prisma make it really comfortable and easy to handle all that. You should check out the documentation. Then the env file is where we put in all those our Google secret, client secret, client ID, server details that we've gotten, and I'll be pasting my own in here. I already have them written out somewhere. So the first thing we want to do is to fill out the schema here. So this is fine like this. We are using the PostgreSQL provider as the database, and of course the client is Prisma client. Cool. Then let's paste in the model. I already have this model written somewhere. Just in case any of this sounds confusing, just check out the Prisma documentation, and you will have everything you are looking for. But I'll try to explain what's going on here. Just format this a little bit. So what we are doing here is that we are creating 4 tables. One of them is the account table, the second one is the session table, and the third one is the user table, while the last one is the verification token. Now, for the verification token, it has just 3 fields where the token is a unique field. This is used to verify a user. So when a user is to be verified, there will be like a token stored here, which if everything works well, will be used to verify the user. Then we have the user table here, which will contain an ID, a name, an email verified, image. Then it will have a list of accounts that belongs to it and a list of session that is attached to it. The ID would be automatically entered. So once you create a user, you don't have to create an ID. The CUID will be run at the background and generates a unique ID for the user. Then the email must be unique. Once a user already have an email, it's not going to be accepted. So let's minimize that. And then for the session is basically saying this is amount of places a particular account or a particular user is logged in. So if a user is logged in multiple places, you should have multiple sessions for that one user. And finally, accounts is attached to providers. So if you have multiple provider with maybe one email or connected to one user, then you have multiple accounts for one user. So this is why you can have one user with multiple accounts. So that is more like a one-to-many relationship, if you understand. And I would also have all this in a GitHub repository. So I will also link that to the description so that you can easily follow up with what's going on here. Now, we now have to fill up the env file. I will also copy out what I already have and fill that out. Yeah. So I'll just copy that. I already have it on the screen here, and paste it here. Nothing here is actually new. I'll just break everything down for you. Let me get this off this face. Okay. The first thing here is the database URL or URI, depending on you. That is just a link to the database we want to use. Then the server or the server host, the email server host is smtp.gmail.com. As long as you are using Gmail as your email server, this is what you have. The email server port is 465. This is also constant. However, the email server user is your email address, so it has to be unique. And the email server password is the password we got. If you remember when we were trying to get all the credentials we need. And like I told you, no reply at tsend.com. It doesn't really matter. This is just for more like aesthetic sake. Then the Google Client ID that we got in the last segment and the Google Client secret. We also have the GitHub ID and the GitHub secret. Then we have the NextAuth secret. Now, this could be any string at all. So you could just put in any gibberish and it's fine. But say, for example, you want to get your own string, a random string without stressing yourself. I'll just show you the command to use and get a string. I'll adjust this terminal a little bit. Terminal. Let me clear here and paste this. So open SSL space RAND for random, base 6432. Just hit enter and it will give you a random string. Now this random string is used to generate tokens for you. You don't need to bother how these things work. Most of these things work under the hood. NextAuth will provide everything for you, so you don't need to bother yourself about this. And then the NextAuth URL is the index page or the home page, which is for us is localhost 3000. If we are going to production, then we have to change this to whatever domain name we are using. And that is it. Now for this database URL, I am using Supabase, if you notice here. So on your own too, you can check it out. And this should be 5432. I made a mistake there. Although that's what you get from Supabase, but it has to be 5432 just for you not to get an error. And then save. All right. So after this, we will need to migrate. We need to migrate our file. Basically, what that means is we want to run this file. When we run this file, it will now automatically create a set of tables for us, and it will create certain functions that we can use when creating APIs or our endpoints for full stack application. Remember, this is Next.js, and Next.js is a combination of Node.js and React.js. So that's beautiful. That's explosive. All right. I'll just clear this and we'll say npx prisma migrate dev. Yes. You just hit enter and it should take a bit, maybe a couple of seconds for everything to be done. So just a little patience will do. Just a little patience. All right. All right, save that, making sure everything is working fine. Okay, All right, so I'll just hit enter, and let's give it a moment. Make sure you cross check so that you don't run into bugs. So give it a moment. And something else to have in mind is if you already have tables um, in that database, there might be conflict. So just in case you run into an error, you might want to check your database and make sure that database is probably clear, or the data there wouldn't conflict with what you already have. I'm saying this for people who are already using NextAuth and probably trying to learn how to do it with Next 13. But aside that, everything should run easily and cleanly. All right. So I think I made a mistake somewhere. Okay, I didn't hit the enter button. So give me a moment, sorry. I thought I hit the enter button, so hit enter. Okay, it starts running. All right. It's running now. Just give it a moment. It should ask you for a name for the uh, for the um, for the migration file. So you can use any name at all that suits you. Aside that, everything will run on its own, and you'll be good to go. Once the migration is complete, we should have a migration file inside the migration folder inside of Prisma here. Yes. Mine is taking a little bit of time. It's probably because of the reception, but we'll just wait. Okay, good. So I can just say init. So the name of the migration will be init. So let me make a little zoom here so that I'm sure you're seeing everything. Hit enter, and that should complete in seconds. Okay, beautiful, and that completes it. Awesome. Now, something I want to introduce to you in case you don't know is that you can actually you can interact with your database straight from the browser using Prisma. So you just type in npx Prisma Studio, npx Prisma Studio, and that would open the database in your browser. So let's take the browser, open a new tab, and paste this here. Beautiful. So everything here will be 0 because we don't have any user, any session, or any account, nor do we have any verification token. So back to here, we've been able to install and do some configurations for the project. Now, the next thing we want to now do is to move into something that is related to just the page router, and so we'll do that in the next segment. Notice that everything we did in this segment is something that is general. So you can pause the video and do everything we've done here for the app router. I'll also do the same, and so I'll see you in the next segment.